Hi everyone, welcome to Alma Per Awakenings. Thank you for listening today. I have a helpful hint I would like to share with you. I want to talk about the phases of our life today. So our life works in 21-year increments, and within each 21 years, we complete 3 phases of understanding or of self-identification. So if you think about 21 years, let's break that down into 3 different phases. Our first phase is called spiritual. Our second phase is called human. Our third phase is called balance. 0 to 7 years old is the phase where we experience a spiritual concept of self, because everything that we're doing is based on what we're feeling and how we're perceiving the world through the emotional self or through energy. The second phase is a human phase, and that phase is really everything that we're experiencing about Earth and about what's expected of us and what we should be doing and how we should be growing up. And the third phase is called the spiritual phase, and this is where the things that we have constructed in our life, do they have meaning? And if they don't have meaning, or not the meaning that we were really looking for, we kind of go through a balancing phase in our life where we start to change things around. So think of the 0 to 7 phase. That's when you're just born, you're a little baby, you don't have any human capabilities, you can't walk, you can't talk, you can't express yourself, you can't explain to your parents that your tummy hurts or that you're hungry. So think of that newborn phase, and mom takes you over to Auntie Barbara's house, and when she hands you over to your auntie, you start screaming bloody murder, and it's because you don't like auntie. And that seems to be okay because mom just simply takes you away from auntie, puts you in her arms, tells you that she loves you, coddles you, rocks you, and makes some kind of excuse for auntie that you're gassy, you didn't sleep good, it's really your nap time. So mom kind of understands that you don't like her or that you're not comfortable with her, and it doesn't bother mom at all. And so then if you're 2 years old and you have a little bit of a temper tantrum, maybe you accidentally say the word, shit, and everybody thinks it's really funny. So maybe when the neighbor comes over, mom and dad are gonna kind of goad you to get you a little bit angry so you could say the word shit, and it sounds really cute when you're 2, and that's totally okay. So that little temper tantrum is even accepted. And if you're 3 or you're 4 and you want a cookie before dinner, that doesn't seem to be a problem. So everybody will just, give you a cookie because the baby wants a cookie. And that's all wonderful, because what we're learning at that time, from that 0 to 7 years old, is how to embrace the world and function in the world based on what we're feeling inside, based on that energy that rises up in us. And everybody in the world says that that's okay, and it's beautiful. But then you turn 7. And now what happens between 7 to 14? When you're about 7 to 14 years old, life changes here. Because now if you go see Auntie Barbara and you're 7, and what does mom tell you now? She says, oh, I don't care if you like auntie or not. Go give auntie a kiss and a hug and tell auntie thank you so much for that present. And you know what? That's not the way you're supposed to act at the Target. And that is not how you're supposed to behave. And don't say those bad words. And that's not acceptable. And no, you can't have a cookie before dinner because we're eating dinner. So now 0 to 7 is like, oh yeah, be exactly who you are and what you feel. And then 7 to 14 is like, oh, by the way, don't be any of that. You just have to do what we say and act accordingly. So our parents and our caregivers in the world educate us to recognize the duality of self. And that duality of self is, hey, we are spirit. We have promptings and feelings and energy that comes up within us that makes us feel. And then we have human. And this is how we're supposed to acclimate to the world and how we're supposed to live in the world and assimilate and do what's expected. But then we turn 14 to 21. And in this phase, now we have reached the third phase of those 21 years. And 14 to 21 indicates to us that balance is what's important. Now, there's a party down the street and I'm 15. and I want to go. So I go home and I ask my mom, can I go to the party? She says, no, you can't go to the party. But I want to go to the party. So I go to the party. And guess what happens, of course? I drank. The police brought me home. When they brought me home to my mom says to me, Nicole, I taught you better than that. And my response is this: did you? Because from 0 to 7 years old, you said I get everything I want. And from 7 to 14 years old, you said I get nothing I want. And then from 14 to 21 years old, you forgot to teach me how to make the decision between what I want and what I feel and what's expected of me. So I don't know how to function in a place that says, take what you want and what you know, be able to make the decision, and then your life will be balanced. So how do you do that? How do you make that determination? Because if you don't do that between 14 to 21, learn how to make a decision through balance, weighing out both sides, what you want and what the world showed you and what is expected of you. Can you make that balanced decision? Because if we always make the decision that the world expects, or we always make the decision that we truly want, how do we know if that's the right decision? So 14 to 21 is the time where we as parents and our parents can teach us how to make the decision, how to look at the pros and cons of both sides, how to find a decision that actually honors both. And is it possible to find a way to participate in the party at some level, but yet not fall into problem? Was there any other plan that could have been made than me just jumping into one side of what I did, which is I wanted to go to the party? So I took the education from my 0 to 7 years old, which told me I could go. I didn't pay attention to the 7 to 14 because my mom was right there at the 7 to 14 and said, no, you can't go. I think what's most effective is if we take the time to figure out what is the best balanced decision that isn't going to hinder us for tomorrow. And something also that doesn't negatively affect other people. It's important because if we don't figure it out, from 21 to 28, we enter the second 21 years of our life. And we don't start with spiritual this time. We always end with balance. So 0 to 7 is spiritual, 7 to 14 is human, 14 to 21 is balance, 21 to 28, now we're going to start in human, 21 to 28 is human, 28 to 35 is spiritual, 35 to 42 is balance, 42 to 49 is spiritual, 49 to 56 is human, 56 to 63 is balance. So that means that every 21 years, you get 7 years to balance out your life. So from 21 to 28, if you're not balanced, if you didn't learn balance from 14 to 21, how will you process your ages from 21 to 28? From 21 to 28, you're going to say, oh, what do people expect of you? Here they expect you to know, are you getting married? Are you having any children? What kind of house do you want to live in? What career are you going to study? In fact, the whole world thinks that you should figure out your life between 21 and 28. And if you don't, oh my goodness, you start to feel behind the power curve. You're not married, you don't have kids, you're breaking society. It's terrible. So from 21 to 28, if we're not balanced, if we don't learn how to do that from 14 to 21, and we make the decisions for our life from 21 to 28, what happens from 28 to 35? From 28 to 35, we're in spiritual. Now we question everything that we decided from 21 to 28. Should I have studied that career? Is that the person I wanted to marry? Next time I buy a house, do I want a porch? Should I have bought that car? How many children? Should I have waited to have children? Because from 28 to 35, things have to feel, they have to mean something to you. So if you didn't make good decisions from 21 to 28, Then from 28 to 35, when you're in the spiritual phase, you want to revamp all of that. So you spend like that 28 to 35, like, I don't feel the way I thought I would feel once I have this career. I don't feel the way I thought I would feel being married. But I thought I would really, really like that car, but I don't. It's really not a good decision because I have kids. Now I need a minivan. Like, I wish I would have thought of that. There's things that when we're 28 to 35, we wish we would have thought about when we were making the decisions in 21 to 28. So if 21 to 28 is human and 28 to 35 is spiritual, emotional, feeling, prompting, energy, then from 35 to 42, we get to try again to be balanced. And this is where we take decisions from 21 to 28 and decisions from 28 to 35. And we choose, oh, this works from 21 to 28. This works from 35 to 42, or from 21 to 28, 28 to 35. This works there, so let me pull it into the 35 to 42 because this is where I'm going to be in balance. I think I have my numbers correctly. I'm not good at numbers and I'm not good at math, so I'm really sorry, but here's how it goes. 0 to 7 is spiritual, 7 to 14 human, 14 to 21 balance, 21 to 28 human, 28 to 35 spiritual, 35 to 42 balance. Let's not wait until we're in our 40s or in our 60s to become balanced. And if we're parents, let's teach our kids how to make a decision, how to balance. And let's practice it. And ask yourself today, what phase are you in? How old are you? What types of things motivate you? What types of things do you think about? Does it match the phase that you're in? Can you say you're in balance? Something I struggle with every day. But this concept makes it so much easier because when I'm making my decisions, I do think about that. I think about what I want, what the world expects, and I try to find a decision or a result that encompasses both, that can honor both what I want and what's expected. I hope that helps you. It helps me. So that's your helpful hint for today. Namaste. Thank you for listening to Alma Pura Awakenings. Bye.